Today on Season 2 of the Color Outside the Box podcast.
And like you said, the smoking in the car. First of all, I want to commend all the parents who are doing a great job. I know all parents are not bad parents, but the ones who are doing what they're supposed to do as far as their parental duties, I commend you. Job well done. However, by the same token, I have witnessed a lot of parents that actually get high with their kids.
Color Outside the Box is a podcast series that focuses on creating a better you. Whether it's advice about family, relationships, raising children in this technological world, marriage, or careers, we seek to find the answers to help you live your best life. So start your Monday morning off right with me, your hostess with the mostest, Princess Miller, on Color Outside the Box right here on iTunes and everywhere podcasts can be heard. Well, good Monday morning, and thank you for tuning in to the Color Outside the Box podcast with your hostess, Princess Miller, and I am here with another great show with my great guest, Miss Keirston Gaines. How are you doing this morning, Keirston?
I'm doing well, Princess. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Excited about this show.
Yes.
We're going to talk about issues that kids are facing today, part 2. Last month I did a segment with Corey Penn, and Corey used to be in the school system. He was a teacher, and now he's working with the Boys and Girls Club, and he also is a youth pastor. So he talked about issues that kids are facing from his aspect, but as an administrator. Let's talk about some things that you've seen that parents may not be aware that's going on.
Well, there are several things that kids are facing, things that we never could imagine when we are in school. Right now, there are a lot of underlying issues that kids are dealing with, from abuse, molestation, drugs. Kids are being picked on, being bullied. A lot of times kids are dealing with things within the household as far as a parent being incarcerated, the abandonment of a parent, DHR being involved. So it's a lot of different things that they bring to school with them that we have to try to deal with. So a lot of times their priority isn't education, because you just don't know the night before they had to sleep in the car. So it's a lot of different issues that they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis that we have to try to come in and be their educator, but at the same time we're being that social worker. We're trying to provide services for that student too, because if they're homeless, like I said, education is not their priority. So right now we're trying to reach out to a social worker to make sure they have somewhere to lay their head down, something to eat. So when they do come into that school building, they're ready to learn.
You know, I was doing a commercial one time for some parents that were involved in a particular project, and they began to talk about there was one student in one of the parents' child classes that came to school quite often with dirty uniforms on. And one particular day, the parent said the student came and they were visibly dirty and they were smelly. And so the teacher pulled them aside and asked, well, little Johnny, I see that you came to school with your uniform with some stains on it. What happened? And he said, well, my mama didn't wash, so I just got my uniforms out the hamper and put them back on. And they have said that that particular student has been sent to the office multiple times because they've come to school with dirty uniforms on, and the school has extra uniforms there. And so they had given him so many, it was like, okay, now we need to call this parent in and to see what's going on. And the parent response was, I was busy, I ain't had time to wash. And I was like, so to say what?
Right.
You know, I was blown away just listening to these parents as I was setting up for the shoot of the things that's going on now that was unheard of when I was in school. I don't know about you, where you went to school, but that was unheard of for kids to come to school with dirty uniforms on, or, dealing with so many issues that they're dealing with right now.
Right.
You know, I've had to even tell my children, don't accept no food from anybody. Don't accept no candy from anybody. Oh, I know them, Mom. I know. No. I don't care if you know them or not. Do not accept, because now they have drugs that look like gummy bears and all these other candies, sweet tarts and stuff. And they think they eating candy. And it's drugs.
Right.
It's a lot.
Right.
It's a lot. So let's take one of these. Let's take bullying, for instance. As a parent, how can we help a child that's being bullied? How do we see, what are the signs? How do we know that they're being bullied or that they're bullying others?
Well, when a child is being bullied, it's something that happens more than one time. Like some kids think, okay, he said something to me one time, so I'm being bullied. But bullying is intentional, it's constant. So whenever something like that happens, they need to come and let an administrator know. Like a lot of kids at the school that I'm at right now, they have no problem with coming letting you know, John Doe or Jane Doe, she's picking with me. This is what was placed on social media and she wants to fight out the school. Now, from that moment, when you bring me that information, it's my duty and responsibility to investigate. So from then on, I'm getting a resource officer involved. I'm calling the kids out, investigating, they write statement forms, because the last thing I want a child to do is go home and commit suicide because someone was picking with them. So that's our duty and responsibility. Now, in addition to that, we are partners with Mobile County District Attorney's Office, Ashley Rich, and she has a program out called Bully Blocker. And that's where a kid can text certain numbers on a cell phone and inform them of particular issues where they're being bullied at school. But most times, if they let us know and come inform us, then we can get to the bottom of it. Now, however, if they do not let us know, we are not informed. So if a fight occurs and then they come and tell us, well, she was picking with me or he was picking with me, we have no evidence of it because no one came and said anything to us about the situation.
Sometimes, and I've dealt with, I've said many times on this program, my son has alopecia, so his hair doesn't grow. And kids think that, I guess because his hair doesn't grow, that he's somebody that they could pick on. And from the time Tim was 5 years old, that's when he first started being bullied. And at first, he wouldn't tell me everything that was going on. But as time got older and Tim got taller and bigger, he started taking matters into his own hands. And so as a parent that, may not have saw the signs, what are some of the signs that, you guys have seen that somebody's being bullied? Because they don't always verbalize. Kids don't talk to parents, like they used to. You can say, well, how was your day? It was all right. What you do? Nothing. Nothing new, But they won't tell you that, little Casey said, whatever, or little Johnny walked up and hit them. They keep it to themselves. So what are the signs that we can look for as parents?
To be honest with you, Precious, sometimes there may not be any signs, because some of them be, if they're withdrawn. They're not saying much. That may be an indicator. If your child normally is outgoing, that may be an indication that something is going on with them. Now, also, if you're checking their cell phone, there may be something in that cell phone that they're texting to another friend about the situation of what's going on with them, as far as them being bullied. But some kids, they do go home and tell their parents before they come and tell us. And a lot of times we get phone calls from parents letting us know that the issue is going on without the student coming to us. And that's how we know to investigate as well, because all our information do not come from students. Sometimes it actually comes from the parents.
So as parents, we need to have more of an open communication. That's one thing that I tried to establish ever since they were little, because I saw what happened to my little sister and brother, when there was no open communication, and they dealt with internal issues in negative ways. And so when I became a parent, I made a conscious decision that, we're going to talk about, I'm going to train them when they were little. How was your day? What happened? Did y'all learn anything new? Did y'all go to, and I would ask all these probing questions to the point where they got comfortable to, and just, it was an automatic thing to get in the car and they both be trying to out talk each other to tell me about their day. But when they became preteens,
it's different.
It's different.
It is.
They don't talk about their day. And so we need, as you're saying that as parents, not only do we need to ask those probing questions, but we also need to go a step further and make sure that we're checking their phones and their computers to see what they're saying to other people and what they're posting.
And with me, growing up in my household, you were attendant. That means you don't have any privacy. So nowadays, what I'm seeing, a lot of parents give their kids privacy. Right now, if you're a child in my household that I'm paying to be, I'm looking at cell phones, I'm checking computers, I'm going through your room. But now it's a different type of parenting. So a lot of times you don't get what we experience as kids. So that's a problem as well, too, for the ones who are not saying anything, the ones who are not communicating with their parents because their parents are not communicating with them. You know,
it's important that we do that because, you know, when you look back to all of these mass school shootings, these kids were looking up how to, you know, how to buy a gun or, you know, how to build a bomb, and they were looking this stuff up online at home first before they came to school and acted it out. You know, so as parents, you know, I have it all. I call it being a warden. Y'all got 1 minute. Bring me your phones, bring me your laptops, get it here and get it here fast because I don't want them to have an opportunity to be able to erase nothing. I want to see everything that you're looking at, and I even go and look at your history.
Right.
Because sometimes, you know, they may be looking at something and then they'll delete it, but then if you go in their history in that browser, you see everything that they've been looking at. And it goes back for months and days. So it's important as parents that we have to. It's not about trying to be your child's friend.
That is absolutely correct.
Yeah, I'm sure that you've seen, in you know, being an assistant principal, parents that come in and they'll take their child's word over an adult's word because their child is their friend.
Right.
And they think their child, which is their friend, can't do no wrong. But you'll be amazed at the things that kids get into, what they'll say, what they'll do, how they act when their parents are not around. So it's important. You know, sometimes when I go to conferences and I know that there's an issue, y'all go step outside. Let me talk to your teacher. Because I don't need you in this conversation. I don't need you trying to put your story together. I need to have a conversation with this adult to find out what's going on. So there's bullying. And we talked about how to, as parents, how we can deal with bullying. Right. But what about some of these other issues that kids are dealing with? Because I was at a conference and they talked about, I think it was ages, I want to say 8 to 14 or 15, an alarming rate of children are suffering with depression during those preteen and teenage years. And a lot of them have contemplated suicide. Never. I had one friend growing up that said that he wanted to kill himself because kids were picking on him. He was at a predominantly black school. He was a white kid. He red hair, lots of freckles, and so he got picked on a lot. And me being his friend, I immediately he wrote me a letter and told me he was going to go home and kill himself that day. And I took that letter and gave it to my mama, who got in contact with his mama. And, you know, he's thriving, doing well today. I think he's in the military the last time I talked to him. And he's doing well. Good. But so many kids just, you know, my son has had at least 3 friends that have went on social media and said, I'm going to kill myself today. Sometimes, and I told him, I said, it's a cry for help. They're waiting for somebody to talk them out of that thought. But they'll put it on social media and then they won't answer their phone for a while, which, you know, sends everybody in a frenzy. How do we deal with it from an administrator standpoint?
When we're aware of a situation like that, we do have, like I said, different partnerships with different organizations like Alta Point. We have different social workers coming out, the Bridge program. And in a case like that, if we're aware, now it's all about awareness as well, because things can be going on at home. If we're not made aware of it, it's nothing we can do. But if they come to school and it's brought to our attention, then we can also send out referrals and get those resources in. And a lot of those places will do home visits and come to the home and not only counsel that student, they'll do the whole family, like a group counseling session with the family as well. But there's, like I said earlier, there's so much going on within the home which causes the kids to want to contemplate suicide. And I think back to Frederick Douglass' statement, it is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Because if you lay a strong foundation at home, childhood, adolescence, when that male or that female grow up to be an adult,